How amazing is it to be surrounded by life like this? Ah, see that e-waste? Always handy. Pump you up. Toxanol built motor juice stations like that one all over the place. The fumes filled the sky. Check out that e-waste. That's a good find. There's some bouncy rubber scrap over there. That fixer-upper seems like it might be better as a torn-downer. No one's going to see you coming in the dark. Look! A spiral groover from the long ago. An apparatus that plays melodiscs. Wouldn't be surprised if it still works. Looks like the groover's arm needs to be nudged to get the needle in position and hear the melodisc's message. Just a few moves left. Make them count. This plastivinyl clue in a chit-chat code. Lucky I'm still old enough to decipher it. It's about an undercovered place, just a trip trek not far from here. Squeeze up and then down. Get the rhythm right. You snap that off, feeling pumped up. Lupin's camp has always been there, hidden deep inside the mountains. Always good to have some wood scrap like that on hand. Look at that plastic scrap, just waiting for someone to do something with it. Tread carefully here. This is Lupin's camp. Take your time and enjoy the daylight. You can see a lot farther now than at night. Wood scrap's great for building things. Scrapalicious. Let's see. It's a place well hidden. It's just below the above.
Bubuko von Vunvu Mauketo. Tul atu iamanau.
Out of Date's impressed you made it this far, but there's still so much left to do. The end of the world is still on everyone's minds.
Yevofo lolan wofo.
You've beaten a path where you have the power to destroy or save everyone. Question is, what you'll do with that responsibility.
Tolu keta. Ya wawanawe. Koyevun. Tuvun bunun.
He can sense that your heart beats steadily and acknowledges that the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Tamuk gabamuk tab.
Thinks it's important that you remember who you are and where you came from. Someone without knowledge of their history and origin is like a tree without roots.
Tuluya. Utu lula. Yevofo lolan wofo.
It's important to stay grounded. You share the same fate as the tree.
Ya moluva no papamofobak.
Out of Date says there's a time for everything. And now there's no use thinking of the past, for it's gone.
Mpa. Wherefore. Where?
Think of the present, because that's where you are. It's time to set your priorities as the one who completes things.
Boyobut. Paigetawa.
If you continue to do good, good will follow you.
Iboda kilmok. Mpa. Wherefore. Where?
If the world really does end, there won't be anywhere to run. So he's prepared for the worst, something he calls the Ark.
To wovu. Mpa. Wherefore. Where?
He hopes you're right. He gets that you mean the journey continues either way, but personally he wants the tree to survive.
Cobra yak.
Out of Date says there's no clear record of the chain of events that changed the course of history and brought the world to its knees.
Weta gono. To wovu.
He's found evidence on the Ark, records of a crisis, decades of contamination that permeated the ground and broke its inner core.
Yalawa wat nawa.
The contamination disrupted what we now know as key energy, the life force that runs through all things, living and inanimate.
Udenu kununyofobo. Ewe boboye.
He's been told the blight affected everything at a genetic level and turned our perception of normality on its head.
Ko boboye boy. Ewe boboye.
It was only those that changed that avoided extinction, proving that the possibility for survival and renewal was real.
Atu awa ya vunko vunturubo.
He understands you are curious about the ship at the foot of the tree. He says it surfaced when the oil broke through the ground.
Tolowoya lo yalo batoloyo.
The Ark predates the back-in days, and now, after years of study of the manuals he found inside, he believes he's figured the ship out.
Vunko vunturubo.
The Ark has room for 4 more, and he trusts you'll apply wisdom to your compassion and choose whom to save if the world comes to end.
Loma utulu ba yowo.
He'll keep the seats open, and you are free to invite up to 4 others to join you in the Ark in the event of a cataclysm.
Loma tuaha mao toliawahu.
Out of Date says that from what he's heard, you've been busy.
Pilvov ugvuhu vobra boom.
He says he appreciates what you've done so far, but unfortunately he's got urgent news from his friend Goop in the southeast.
Kabobe farhi. Iatu yao mawa.
Out of Date says that even though he's unsure about your intentions, he hopes you'll support Goop.
Momombusu? Kabobe farhi.
He says he'll point you in the right direction, but finding Goop and making sure he gets what he needs is up to you. That's the sound of impending doom. Out of Date's premonitions of imminent disaster are true. The porky puff needs to be handled.
Valu alu Herwa.
Out of Date says that Goop is worried now that the Southeast World Eater is stepping up its activity.
Muk bebuk. Luatolo maua.
He explains that Goop is working on a goo-gliding vessel in order to get to the World Eater, but needs help to get it done.
Kuzata ghetto. Ya, sawata mua.
Out of Date suggests that you should head southeast as fast as possible and see what you can do to help.
Nuekek ujbar no barke.
He wonders what's on your mind.
Ayabu aya.
Wouldn't be surprised if you met again. Make sure you know how to get back.
Yangu. Ajitawa. Lamdi otsnikna nufni wakni. Yumara.
Gulpo ain't the easiest tongue, but I think he says he's happy to see a friendly face. Not too many of those around these days. Says it's good to see you again. He's Goop. You might remember him from the old days when he tried to teach you how to swim. Goop says you were always so righteous as a child, and he can still feel it, even at a distance. Goop says memories fade surprisingly fast. We are all pieces of what we remember. It's only together we can remember the story as it was. He can't tell you much as he didn't want to hear anything about it. He can't understand how someone could be so vicious, even though he knows there are reasons behind it. Goop says our memory keeps things for us and protects them until we are ready to face them again. He understands you've returned to face Lupa Lupin. That's the destiny you've been carrying within yourself all these years. He says that the catastrophe back then didn't vanquish the good in you. It's still there, as bright as when you were a child. Now the time has come for you to remember and act. Your life is your life, not the story you're told about it. He thinks that's the right thing to do. It's only when you have forgiven that you'll find peace.
Run, Dark, run!
It's not a race.
You only say that because you're losing.
That doesn't mean I'm wrong.
No, there are lots of other reasons you're wrong.
Says life on the goo is wide open. You have so many choices of where to go. Some harder than others, of course. Which kind do you like? Hit the open surf then. The trouble is you can only rely on yourself, at least until you reach a new shore and make new friends. Can hardly believe the world is going to make it. Wonders what that's going to do to the goo. Thanks you for doing everything you could to de-goop the surf. Thinks the Myriad made a good match with you. You're both like sunshine on the surf. Claims he didn't say that out loud. But hey, back to the goo. Knows yesterday is already gone. It's what you do today and tomorrow that'll move you forward. You need to set the past aside, at least for now.
Zurakia Yatupuwila. Ti.
He can't leave the Subnautica station as the pollution has worn down the insulation of his suit. So you must salvage enough scrap to fix up his goo glide, starting with the old wreck box outside.
Yatupuwila. Jaida. Exekon.
You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the goo glide strong enough to fight the Porky Puff. You're lucky that way. There's still cargo left on the shores from before the apocalypse. His best guess is a power tanker hit a reef and went under. If you can't see landmarks, just a few moves left. Make them count. Darkness makes you miss the light. all fired up. Tap hard. No windows to look out at the sky from down here. What a blow! Better than nothing. That's just awful. Watch your step around here. Toxanol's offshore drilling caused oily matter to spread with the rain and contaminate both the groundwater and open surf. The long-lasting effect this had on the evolution of wildlife was, as we know now, the only reason we came to exist. You need to line up the switches so they match. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. The story will go on as long as there is someone there to listen.
Mukambe. Sairuya. Tirami. Daikeza.
He's got the goo glide functional. You'll have a pull hook and a salvage net, but no armor, and an engine strong enough to break through the thick goo further out.
Daikeza. Tirami. Yukia.
There are lots of valuables left behind on the surf floor that the salvage net will enable you to haul. You just need to find the right spots.
Kawaida. Tenko.
Goop says Gizmo's devised a cannon for the goo glide, but instead of bullets, it flips quacks. Squeaky distractions for the triple attentive Porky Puff, which will give you time to get yourself in position.
Kawaida.
The best way to find quacks is to talk to Gulp. He has the bearings of the surf archipelago and knows where the quacks like to float. This means you'll have the privilege of visiting Gulp in the Sinky Dink. He'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find quacks.
Yango wanakanwako titutuata.
He only knows what's visible to the naked eye. Gulp is not much of a babbler and mostly keeps to himself and his drink. Might need to shade your eyes. Night's over. This here is the Sinky Dink, home of Gulp, at the very least.
Ja. Men harden med angri kamerad bunten.
He's pretty sure he's heard of you before, although the details are maybe a little hazy. He wonders if you have something for him to drink.
Angri kamerad bunten. Slåchba.
Points out that he's hungry too, but always thirsty for more.
Budraken angre gamman vaktu.
Says you look like you've got a powerful thirst to do something in this world. Good, bad, not really sure, but it seems like you've been drinking in your destiny and liking the flavor.
Mulayde kondu ofuteim. Witam.
Wonders if you could take the time to help a man slake his own thirst. You'd be doing him a liquid solid. You're a do-gooder, so you know you want to.
Seringe sedagetis kondu ofuteim. Witam.
Either way, he hopes you find a way to wet your whistle before the world comes to an awful dry end and leaves us all thirsting for more.
Sering sedagulis. Ja. I mittis beridi.
Says life's like a mystery drink. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's awful. But either way, you can't stop drinking till you're dead.
Brammenga geijasa.
Sure, but that's nowhere near as quick and easy. Who wants to stop to chew? Wants to raise a glass to you getting the world fixed up a bit. Respects how you always try to help, no matter that the world's fate is hard to swallow. Sees why you joined up with the Myriad. They like a peaceful drink, just like you. Something calm and soothing for your belly. But who cares about them? Says you'd be as bummed out as him if you came for the hot stuff. The Glugmocker, Nimhimbibble, and his favorite radium syrup. That one's even more intoxicating now, aged in truck tankers and all. Without a drink, and radium syrup especially, he can't move, much less think, as the power of his mind is directly proportioned to the quantity of syrup he swigs. That's why he's called Gulp. The drink helps him forget the state the world is in, but it only lasts until tomorrow. The world is still doomed, even if the sun goes up. It makes most dumber, but that's his special burden to bear. He wants you to know he has other interests too. He's the Surfipelago's self-proclaimed ornithologist, for example. There are other ways than a cold drink to relieve stress, even in these dark times, and, fortunately for you, he can help. Watching Pippi's flap is calming, but better yet are the ones you can look at and touch, like quacks. Squeezing them is a great way to relax. They're better at floating than flapping, so you should be able to net a few without growing yourself a pair of wings. Let's see. With luck, it'll keep you out of the goo. The Quack Hollow. It's just loonly. You enjoyed that. Definitely not open. The right key could open this. This is all about you. Whether you succeed or fail, it's on you. Perfect for making a sideways rain of slugs. This is more gun than most can handle. You can make something from that. You need to line up the switch. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Keep your head on a swivel. Time to disembark. That's enough quacks to sustain the Googlide flipper with infinite ammunition. Goop says he was there when the Porky Puff took Out-of-Date's leg, so this World Eater has made it personal. After that, Out-of-Date started using his head instead of his legs and came up with the plan on how to best make a stand against the World Eaters, and it wasn't by foot. That's how he got tasked with rebuilding the Googlide. He seems happy to talk. Says you'll see each other later. It's the Porky Puff nibbling bark. It took quite a liking to the crunchy stuff after munching down Out-of-Date's leg. Hook the boom ball and tow it beneath the puff. The quacks. Ain't that cute? A two-bit playing with quacks. brisk wind of change. Don't let this opportunity slide. He thanks you for dealing with the first World Eater. It's a start. You should go see Out of Date and find out what you can about the machine he's named the Ark. You're good-hearted enough, so you'll have no problem getting him to share the information with you. He trusts you know where to find Out of Date by now. He's always been at the foot of the tree, and that hasn't changed.